Hi everyone! In this video, we will review the steps for doing a literature search, and it doesn't always involve a trip to the library. Article databases are great resources for browsing journal articles and sometimes chapters of books that are related to a research topic of interest. They will provide you with a summary description of each article so that you can decide if you want to go and locate the article in the library. And sometimes, if you're lucky, actually, most of the time nowadays, they will include links to electronic copies of the articles so you don't have to make a trip to the library. The best psychology article database at our fingertips is the one that is hosted by the Marriott Library at the University of Utah. So we will get started by going to the University of Utah website, heading over to Academics, and down to Libraries. And on this page, we'll see that the Marriott Library is one of the first ones listed, so let's click on that. And that takes us to the Marriott Library homepage. Now, in the future, if you want to go straight to the Marriott Library homepage, you can do so by entering the URL lib.utah.edu, and that will take you straight here. So, to access the databases that the Marriott Library has access to, you'll want to click on this Databases tab. And from here, we're going to click on Select Database by Subject and scroll down so that we can find psychology. Here we go. And we can see there are a number of psychology databases here, but the one we want, the one that is the most comprehensive and most widely used, is PsycInfo from the APA. And you can see that the library even put it at the top for that reason. So let's go ahead and click on this. And if you haven't already, you'll be prompted to log in with your U of U credentials. And that brings us to our database. So let's go ahead and initiate a search. Let's say that you are interested in how pet ownership can affect one's health. So let's go ahead and enter in the search terms pet ownership and health. Now, keep in mind that if you hadn't entered in this "and" here, pet ownership and health would have been treated as a single keyword phrase. But really, we have two keywords here. We have pet ownership and health, so it's important to have that "and" in there. So let's go ahead and hit return. And that gives us 312 results, at least at this point in time. Now, that may be too many for us to review, which means that our search is too broad. So let's see if we can narrow it down. Let's say that more specifically, we are interested in pet ownership and health in the elderly. So we could add another keyword to our search. How about "and elderly" and hit return? That brings us down to 25 results, which is much more manageable. We can further narrow down our results to articles that are more recent over here, let's say to the last 5 or 10 years. Or we can limit our search results to only those that are peer-reviewed, or even only those that have the linked full text, so we don't have to go looking for the article in the library. I don't always select linked full text, however, because I may miss out on a really important article just because there wasn't a full text linked at the time. So, looking through our results, we can see that most of these are academic journals. This will often be the case, and academic journals, or more specifically peer-reviewed journals, should make up the majority of the sources that are listed in a research paper. The term peer-reviewed means that each article published in the journal was critically evaluated by other researchers in that same field of study. This is so important because it means that the research was held to high standards and had to be accepted by other researchers as well-conducted science. Anyway, it is okay to use and include in your paper some sources that are not peer-reviewed, such as book chapters or dissertations. You just have to keep in mind that a source does not carry as much conviction or weight if it isn't peer reviewed. So let's say we are interested in the article right here: Health Effects of Ownership of and Attachment to Companion Animals in an Older Population. So if we go ahead and click on the title here, it will pull up a page of information on the article. Below the title of the article, we have the author's names, the source, the journal that it was published in, some keywords here that could be used to search for the same article. And this, by the way, is a great way to get ideas of keywords to use to find other similar articles. And we have the abstract, which is basically a summary of the article. And down here, we have additional information about the study that was conducted in the article. So, by reading the abstract, we can decide if we want to go ahead and locate and read the full article. If we do, we should look to see if there's a link to the full text of the article up here at the top. And it looks like we have access to a PDF copy of the article. So let's go ahead and open it up. So let's review the main sections of a typical journal article. At the beginning, we'll see the abstract, and then next, we'll find the introduction. Now, the abstract and the introduction don't always have headings, but they're usually the first two sections of a paper and pretty easy to identify. The introduction will give us a background of the study and what other researchers have found in other related studies. Next, we have the methods section. This section will tell us exactly how the study was designed and carried out so that if somebody else wanted to replicate the study, they could do so. It also helps us understand the findings since the resulting data are going to heavily depend on how the study was designed and carried out. And next, we should have the results section. Here we can find the statistical findings of the study along with tables and charts of what was found. And then finally, we have the discussion section, which basically wraps up the paper. It reviews the results of the study and how those results fit in with and inform the field. And then at the very end, we have the references section, which lists the information for looking up any of the articles or book chapters that were cited within the paper. This is another great place for looking up other sources related to your topic of interest. So let's go back to the beginning and let's say that we are reading and we decided that we wanted to look at one of the sources that is cited. Let's say we wanted to locate this article by Brown and Rhodes published in 2006. Next, we will go back to the references section and find the article down here. Here it is, Brown and Rhodes 2006. And note that author order with journal publications is very important. This is not the same as Rhodes and Brown 2006. That would be a different publication. So the most important information for looking up an article will be included here in the references section. The authors, the year of publication, the title of the article, the title of the journal that it's published in, and the volume number of that journal, and the page numbers. If you ever notice that next to the volume number here, you see another number in parentheses, know that that is the specific issue within that volume. So let's go back to PsycInfo and see if we can pull this one up. So instead of using the basic search, that is the default, we are going to go ahead and use the advanced search. With advanced search, you can specify what field each search word belongs to. It's usually easiest to start by searching for the first two or so authors' names and the publication year. So here I'm going to select author and type in Brown. And then author again and type in Rhodes. And then finally, I'm going to scroll all the way down to year of publication and type in 2006 and search. And it looks like we got 2 search results in addition to a video. If we had gotten too many and still couldn't find our article, we could go ahead and add another search term. Let's do that now to see how it's done. So right here, we can click on and add a row to add another search field. Let's look back to our reference to see what other information we can enter in. We could enter in the name of the journal. I'm going to copy it here and then go ahead and paste it here in this search field and hit search. Here we go. Now only our one article pops up. Let's go ahead and open up our search result. So over here, we don't see a link to the full text article or PDF like we did before. But sometimes if you click on the View It link, you will be directed towards some version of the full text. So if you do find you're unable to access a digital copy of the article, the next step is to see if the Marriott Library has a hard copy of the journal. If they do, you will need to go find the journal in the library and make a photocopy of the article. Let's go back to our original article and find an example. Let's go ahead and look for this one here. Crawford, Worsham, and Swinehart. So let's do a search actually for this journal just to see what we need to do to locate an article that's not online. I'm going to go ahead and copy a name of the journal and then head back over to the Marriott Library homepage. Now, there are a number of ways we can search for a journal. I'm going to use this search bar and enter it in here and click Go. And you'll find that the search results are categorized by type of resource. If I scroll down here and find the journals, here is our journal. And we can see that the library has separated the digitally available issues of the journal and the hard copies that are physically located within the library. We know these are the hard copies because we have the location within the library right here. You may find that the particular issue or volume number you are looking for is only available in one format or the other. So let's say that you check the online option here, and the particular year and volume or issue number your article is in isn't available in digital format. Let's then check the hard copies to see if the library carries a hard copy of the article. And if we look right here, we can see a range of volume numbers and years of publication that the library physically carries. Looking back at the reference, we need volume 19, which was published in 2006. And if we look back to what the library carries, we can see that, yes, volume 19, published in 2006, is carried in the library, and we can go and make a copy of it. So finally, let's say that the library does not have a copy of the article we want. We can submit a request for the Marriott Library to search other libraries for it and then email us a copy of the article. Let's go to the result page in PsycInfo for our article. And let's just pretend that this was the article that we couldn't find a hard copy of. The next step would be to click View It. And then down here at the bottom, we can click on Request from another library. And we'll go ahead and choose Marriott Library. And you'll find that oftentimes all of the required information to be entered is automatically entered. If not, you can go ahead and enter that in based off of your search result. Once you're done, you'll go ahead and click Submit Request. If the library is able to find a copy of your article, which they almost always can, they will send it to you in an email. Or if you're requesting a book, they will email you to let you know that it has arrived and you can go pick it up at the library. This is an amazing resource But the downside is that it can take several days to a week or more for the resource to come in. So you really do need to plan ahead. So, those are all of the basics for completing a literature search. If you have any questions about how the article databases work, you can click on this link here, Ask the Library. This is a great resource as well, and they even have live online support. All right, happy researching.